Wholeness, thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to go over the word and some definitions from the book, The Mastery of Self. I've been making videos and I kept forgetting a word, domestication, and I wanted to use that several times the past few days, but I want to first speak about the definition. I'll give you the definition of that so that we're on the same page when I'm explaining. I'm going to read a little bit from the book. So an ally is the voice of your internal narrator, which it inspires you to live, create, and love unconditionally. The ally can also offer constructive self-talk. So I have posted a video a few days ago regarding our internal dialogue and the conversations we have with ourselves. So this next chapter that I'm going to read to you is about our self-dialogue, how we speak to ourselves and how we love ourselves. An attachment, the action of taking something that is not a part of you and making it a part of you through an emotional and energetic investment. You can attach to external objects, beliefs, ideas, and even roles you play in the world. This is a term that's been pretty much thrown around lately, but attachments are a thing and they are a powerful part of our makeup as humans and how we attach ourselves to ideas, material things, and people. The authentic self, the divine inside of you, the force that gives life to your mind and your body. It is similar to the concept of the spirit or the soul that is present in many religious traditions, but it's not exactly the same. Okay, domestication. The primary system of control in the dream of the planet. Starting when we are very young, we are presented with either a reward or a punishment for adopting the beliefs and behaviors of what others find acceptable. When we adopt these beliefs and behaviors as a result of either the reward or punishment, we can say we have been domesticated. So I think I was speaking in terms of education, being domesticated into religions. A lot of just in the book, it describes a person being domesticated on accident, like their grandmother's just telling them not to leave food on their plate, and how just that simple belief can turn into something that actually kind of traumatizes the person who receives it, or it can be detrimental just to their health when people overeat for the sake of his grandmother telling him he was offending God by not finishing his food. So we get trained into this world, and I'm going to continue to repeat the word domestication around, because it's basically what happens to all of us at some point in our upbringing, and maybe the whole time of our development and even into adulthood. We hold on to these beliefs and the domestication that is actually holding us back because we're unable to let go, and maybe we're attached to those beliefs or the domestication, or either way. The dream of the planet is the combination of every single being in the world's personal dream, or the world we live in. The narrators are the voices in your mind that speak to you throughout the day, which can either be a positive ally or a negative parasite. The parasite is the voice of the narrator when it uses your beliefs formed through domestication and attachments to hold power over you by placing conditions on your self-love and self-acceptance. This negative voice causes sadness, anxiety, and fear. So the personal dream is the unique reality created by every individual. Your personal perspective is the manifestation of the relationship between your mind and body. So about the book again, it's about the Toltec people, their tradition, and their ancient Native American teachings who came together in South and Central Mexico to study perception. The word Toltec means artist, and the Toltec warrior is one who is committed to using the teachings of the Toltec tradition to win the inner battle against domestication and attachment. Okay, so today I just want to go over some things in this chapter, and I did not underline anything, so I'm going to do a lot of reading. But this is some stuff that I feel like I should cover. Understanding the relationship between domestication and attachment. In the example, okay, there's a soccer fan, and attachment arose out of something that was genuinely loved, the game of soccer. The fan allowed this love for the game to draw him into the fog, as he made the game part of his identity and confused his association with the team for who he really was. In the example of the boy and his grandmother, the boy was domesticated to the idea that he must finish all his food, even though that idea wasn't true for him. And as an adult, he adhered to the idea that he should finish his food, even if his body is indicating something to the contrary. As a result, he is now also attached to that idea. The difference to understand is this: attachment does not always come from domestication, but domestication left unchecked always leads to attachment. Here's what the evolution from domestication to attachment looks like. Domestication. You are domesticated to an idea through interaction with others in the dream of the planet. A grandmother domesticates her grandson to the idea that it's a sin not to finish all of his food on his plate. So self-domestication. Once this idea is lodged inside you and accepted, it becomes a belief. You no longer need an outside domesticator to enforce this idea. You will do it yourself. This is self-domestication in action. The grandson grows up and habitually finishes all his food on his plate, even though he isn't hungry. So, an attachment. You are now attached to this belief, and depending on how strong your attachment is, your acceptance of yourself and others is contingent upon fulfillment of the belief. The grandson feels guilty if he doesn't finish the food on his plate. He admonishes his friends for not finishing their food, and he domesticates his children to the same idea. So this is really a good example, just because a lot of us were told to finish our food, and having my grandson, myself, and being in the exact same situation the other day, I stopped myself because I'm like, okay, I want to break some curses. I want to break some generational curses, and I want to stop feeding these same beliefs that are really unhealthy or really not even natural for us humans. And we've been domesticated through years of oppression and slavery or inequality, and that in itself. Noticing your domestications, take a moment to look back over your life. What are some ideas that were instilled in you as a child that you later discarded as no longer true for you? These could be ideas about education and career, money and material possessions, politics, religion, or any number of other areas. Remember, the point here isn't to judge or become resentful of those who initially domesticated you to those ideas, but rather to see where domestication occurred and how you broke free. By noticing where you have already spotted and released domestication in your life, you prove to yourself that you have all the power you need inside of you to break free again and again. So I liked that, explaining the domestication and the attachments. So in the dream of the planet, there are two powerful forces that shape all our agreements: attachments and domestication. In the Toltec tradition, we call these forces the two types of love: unconditional love and conditional love. When unconditional love flows from our hearts, we move through life and engage over living beings with compassion. Unconditional love is recognizing the divinity in every human being we meet, regardless of his or her role in life or agreement with our particular way of thinking. A master of self sees all beings through the eyes of unconditional love without any projected image or distortion. Conditional love, on the other hand, is the linchpin of domestication and attachment. It only allows you to see what you want to see and to domesticate anyone who doesn't fit your projected image. It's the primary tool used to subjugate those around us and ourselves. Every form of domestication can be boiled down to, if you do this, then I will give you my love. And if you do not do this, then I will withhold my love. Every form of attachment starts with, if it happens, then I will be happy and feel love. And if it does not happen, then I will suffer. The key word in all of the statements is if, which is, as you will see, has no place in unconditional love. As we construct the dream of the planet, we have a choice to love each other unconditionally or conditionally. When we love each other unconditionally, our mirror is clean. We see others and ourselves as we really are, beautiful expressions of the divine. But when the fog of the attachment and domestication clouds our perception and we put conditions on our love, we are no longer able to see the divinity in others and ourselves. We are now competing for a commodity that we have mistaken as love. At its core, domestication is a system of control, and conditional love is its primary tool. Consequently, the moment you start trying to control others is the same moment you place conditions on your love and acceptance of them. Because you can only give what you have, the conditions you try to impose on others are the same conditions that you impose upon yourself. When you self-domesticate, you are attempting to control your own actions based on shame, guilt, or perceived reward rather than unconditional love. As we saw in the example with the man who continues to eat even after he is full, this is neither a healthy nor happy way to live. Unconditional love is the antidote to domestication and attachment, and tapping into this power is the key step to becoming a master of self. In this chapter, we will look at the practice of having unconditional love for ourselves. First and foremost, as you cannot give to others what you do not have for yourself. So, that was just an explanation of how we withhold love, and we often withhold love from ourselves based on our attachments to the domestication. And I know this is kind of a lot today, but I want to go over this because it goes into the parasite and the ally, which is our self-dialogue. And it explains how we are not our thoughts, which it's important to understand that we are not our thoughts, but our thoughts do have power because we're tapping into creating our reality, either whether it's positive or negative. The parasite and the ally in the Toltec tradition, we refer to the voice in your mind as the narrator, the one that speaks to you throughout your day. When you are self-domesticating, we say that the narrator is acting as a parasite, draining your energy through intentional negative self-talk. The voice of the parasite uses your beliefs, formed through domestication and attachment, to hold power over you by placing conditions on your own self-love and self-acceptance. The parasite keeps you trapped in the fog, unable to see the truth of who you really are and the potential you hold in your heart. When the voice shares commentary that inspires you to live, create, and love unconditionally, this is the constructive self-talk. In the Toltec tradition, we say that the narrator is now acting as an ally, helping you navigate the dream of the planet in a peaceful and productive way. When the narrator is your ally, it points out the truth in every situation, reminding you that you are in control of your own life and that you have the ability to make a positive difference in the world. Although the ally is still a reflection of the truth, it is what you see in the mirror when the fog is cleared. If you are like most people, the narrator in your mind is constantly alternating between the parasite and the ally, sometimes going back and forth many times during the course of a single day. When the narrator becomes the parasite, doubt sets in and you question the choices you make. Inspiration and creativity are gone, replaced by self-doubt and conditional self-love. When the ally takes over, you feel confident in your abilities and the chatter that fills your mind is joyful. It is important to understand that neither the parasite nor the ally speaks as the authentic self. The authentic self is the divine, the energy or spirit that gives life to your body and mind. When you identify with the voice in your head, you confuse the narrator of who you really are and become its slave in the process. When the narrator speaks as your ally, you feel happy. And when the voice of the parasite takes over, you become depressed. But as a master of self, you know that neither the voice neither voice is ultimately you, as neither represents the whole of your authentic self. And I think that was just basically the point I wanted to make, is whether your thoughts are good or bad, that is not who you authentically are, the divine self, the original Atman. But these thoughts create your reality. So it is better to identify with the ally in your mind than the parasite and continue to poison your reality. Again, this is the book by Don Miguel Ruiz, The Mastery of the Self, and I will be back with more of this content because I believe it is so beautiful. I feel it's beautiful and it really speaks to me, and I hope and know it's speaking to others. Peace.